Getting ready is the moving on. Every night is awake. How much more must we take? On the road, on the road. Song engineer stop fixing. Can't you see that he makes me fixing? In his band, of career politicians, focus on harmonizing, not chewing, no but sitting. In his band of parliamentarians, friends and family with contract, billions they just extract, riding taxpayers back. Population, the UNC and the PNM and the COP and the political symphony. It's a symphony with the GOP, MSJ and JSC and the political symphony. It's a symphony. Try to clench your fist, stand up and insist. We can't continue like this. We'll end up in a crisis. Let the voices be heard. On the well, we have to be here to speak up. Emotionally like a tweeter. There are more acoustics, causing feedback and static. They say every creed and race pumped up by the winding space. Without shame, without disgrace, they wind it up in the people's face. Yes, they wind it up in the people's face. Kurt Allen, boy, you are a master lyricist. Let me tell you something, brother. I want to tell Kurt Allen, the last Badger of Calypso, I want to find him and tell him I say so, brother. I am a wordsmith. I just write words sometimes and I just go back and read it and bring a tear to my own eye. I know what I could write, but brother, I want to tell you something. Every time I play that song, I know you are a master of the craft, brother. You are a master of the craft. Parliamentarians. And you see, today, tonight, now, right now, tonight, the name of the video is Watch Now. You see, and this is for Marcia Brave Boy, Alan Karen, Rhoda Barrett. Mark the time. Mark the time. All you want to clip what I'm about to say and keep it. All you want to use it later on. Every single day of life, I want to quit politics. Every single day of life, I want to get out of this. Every single day of life that I rob my family of my time, that I rob myself of developing my businesses. Every single day that I think of a bench by the savannah or a beach on the North Coast, every single day that I spend on this, I want to get out of it. I have never hidden the truth from you. I have watched every columnist, every talk show host, every media personality, every public speaker coming to where Phillip start. Everybody coming to the truth. I have never hidden from you that this country is a rotted shithole. I have never hidden from you that it is people in the 1% contract mafia and corrupt politicians that have looted this country, that every death, every murder, every failure in this country is at their feet. I have never hidden that from you. I have never used that to exchange for public office or any kind of job. I have never traded it for money. There are people who call me and say, Phillip, endorse this for me now. Phillip, advertise that for me now. Because because my following massive. I put a doubles man on blast and he had to take 2 days off. They buy out everything. They only buy the man box. They want to buy the spoon and the bowl with the sweet sauce in it. I know when people call me to do those things and I say, listen, if I don't like it, if I wouldn't use it, if I don't eat it, I wouldn't endorse it. I am a man of integrity. That is what my father raised me to be. My father, a Syrian man. I am half Syrian. The heifer from Bayshore and Harry back want to make fake profiles and say I wanna be Syrian. Wanna be Syrian? I am a Syrian. When I go by the master of fades in West Mall to cut my hair, the girl who does do the waxing, they start to wax my ears and inside my nose. I's a Syrian partner. I have hair in places other races don't have. I have hair on the top of my instep. Nobody else I know other than Syrian have hair on the top of the instep. Gary Griffith is a wannabe Syrian. People like Keith Rowley is a wannabe Syrian. But it's a blasted Syrian and you could take it back. Give me back all the money I spent waxing all this freaking hair out my nose. I'm telling you, you know you're a Syrian? You have a plunger in the bathroom because hair in the drain, clogging the drain. That don't happen to Gary. That just happened to me. My Syrian father watched people close to him, people that are relatives of his, engage in the most nasty of businesses. People bund down business and claim insurance, he tell me. People bund down whole building in town and claim insurance, he tell me. He tell me that is where Winshaw insurance dry up in this country because family of mine bund down building in town and claim insurance. My father sit down in his poverty. My father sit down and tell me, son, it is go up big and it's come down faster. I want you to tell me, Philip, I want you to promise me that no matter what you do, that life will give you an easy road and a right road. And I want you to promise me if there's only one thing you do for me, is choose the right road always. Tomorrow is All Souls. The first All Souls since I bury him. And we ain't looking forward to that in the La Perouse Cemetery. We're not looking forward to lighting them candles. Tomorrow is tears. But I want to tell you something. For all the time that I have been in public life, in any kind of Kamla Prasad business, I could tell you how much different way they try to cajole me. How much different way they try to control me. How much different way they say, you know what they say? Gary telling them, Gary come in my world to say I unstable. Gary, you stable. You stable. They fire you from UNC, but you went and link up with PNM. They fire you from PNM, now you're linking back up with UNC. Your former party named the NTA, it's like a balloon. One prick and it gone. It have no structure. It have no substance. You have no policies. You have not one single person in that party with you understand politics. Not one of them have ever read the Constitution, including you. Because you talk a pack of bullshit today and you get me vexed. Because you come and you say that when you said the Prime Minister offered you $45 million to hire foreign lawyers, to lock up political opponents, you said, when I ask you, why didn't you go to the DPP? Why did you go to the media? Gary said if you did that, you would be having a media conference every day. That means you knew that the Prime Minister you were serving is a criminal. You kept it to yourself, brother. That is conspiracy. When the Prime Minister would come out your mouth, you talk some shit sometimes, you know. When you said that the Prime Minister brought $45 million for you to go and hire foreign lawyers to come to Trinidad to look up opposition politician, Gary, you just accused the Prime Minister of misbehavior in public office and you're not realizing that. And by staying silent, you were part of the conspiracy. As the Commissioner of Police, you had a responsibility to uphold the law. As the Commissioner of Police, you had the responsibility. You're telling people I talking shit. I want Trinidadians to hear the foundation of what I am saying. And if you think I talking shit, I'll keep it to myself after this. See, I am the only person that asks these questions in this country. Gary Griffith, in another one of his public meetings where he exposes the Prime Minister a little more. He exposed the Prime Minister. He says that the Prime Minister handed him $45 million or set aside $45 million or told him about $45 million to hire foreign lawyers to prosecute the opposition. and that political opponent. That's frightening. That's frightening news. That should make everybody in the country stop. You know what should make you stop more? That at that time, the commissioner of police, Gary, and Rowley was friends. That's the only reason Rowley would think that he could come to Gary with $45 million to prosecute political opponents. What I want to ask Gary Griffith is, what did you do with that? When you was eating government food and drinking government wine, when you were getting the commissioner's salary, did you go to the DPP? Did you go to the media that you now calling out and telling them to be brave? Were you brave then? Did you forego your job and your salary to stand up and say, Mr. Prime Minister, this is wrong. I cannot believe you try to include me in these kind of machinations? No. We only learning of this because Rowley fired Gary. And that frightens me more. That there are people in this country like Rowley who would do such a thing. And that there are people like Gary in this country who only when it serves his interests, we get to find out. Write a next long thing there for them, Gary. Put a next stranger name on it. But tell the people of Trinidad and Tobago, why weren't you honest and upfront and forthcoming with all of this information when you was getting the commissioner's salary? Over to you, Gary. You know what he do? He let Big Belly Tim Timal sign it. All you know Tim Timal from Facebook as Christopher Nokia, the porn star king. That is Gary's spokesman. Gary don't even check. Gary so cocky and arrogant. He so feel he can't do nothing wrong because he just bully everybody. Who not working for him, he bully it into silence. But I am neither of those people. I will always stand up and call you out. And you're a coward because you want to send things for me, but you're afraid to put your name. So you put the purveyor of social media filth, Tim Timal, also known as Christopher Pinocchio. Tim Timal, take this from me straight, brother. Don't ever put God out your thoughts again and come at me. Not for yourself, not for Gary, not for anybody. Unless you're sure. Unless you're sure, be certain. Don't be like them P&M pussies that's come at you. And when you slap them back, they're run looking for Kwamina and the other P&M pussy lawyers who does always show up when P&M pussy is hurting. Yeah? Be very, very cautious, Tim Timal. Don't mistake my kindness for weakness. I am in politics because I have family and loved ones in this shithole, in this latrine pit, that if I could get them all on a plane tomorrow, I would leave it. So all those who think Indian and African politics ends happily ever after, I want to be in a first world country where it come up on CNN that Trinidad and Tobago burning itself to the ground. I want to change the channel. As watch Hallmark, Little House on the Prairie, Waltons, things that calm my mind. I'm not part of that. You see, we create a party. Gary could talk all the shit he want to talk for his 5 friends. For the 5 friends he form a party with. Ask them to contest an election. The next... I see. Boy, look. Gary tell people the only reason I go in at him is because I's a PNM. He's a mad ass or what? Maxi Coffee was my editor in the Mirror. I used to write... Come and hire me. I said, brother, that don't mean I ain't gonna write against the PNM. You know, you say you write what you want. We just need you in these papers because I was selling papers. That was writing in the weekday and the weekend Mirror. And Maxi Coffee, as Minister of Communication, when Keith Rowley won the election, and I called Maxi to congratulate him. He says, it's a shame. You can't work with us, you know. I said, what do you mean? He said, you went up against the leader. I said, but I ran as an independent. He said, it don't matter. And that's the bullshit of Trinidad politics. Because Gary could tell you, in 2014, I negotiated with people in Ukraine. And I have all my emails. And I have all my communication between me and them, me and TSTT, me and Digicel, me and Gary. So when Simon de Nobrega and his one CXC pass here, this and run to do it, remember here first. In 2014, that was 8 years ago. In 2014, when Gary was Minister of National Security, I negotiated with a company in the Ukraine to create in Trinidad 8 years ago. It's something modern now, but remember it was 8 years ago, where any emergency and any crisis that the Ministry of National Security needed to contact you, we could have sent a message to every phone in the country immediately. I told Maxi, you're going to bounce up something in the Ministry of Communications. And that is my project. This I am doing. And he said, we won't do it. We won't do it. And the country never got it. And that's why you had so many crises and so many bacchanal and people get stuck in so much traffic. You see, when the pipe by Peaks bus, we know people send me that information almost immediately. You could have sent out a blast to people telling them this is going to cause traffic. There are alternate routes. You could have used it accordingly. But anyway, Maxi Coffee tell me, Philip, you could never. And Gary, who was a minister under Kamala, ended up appointed. Rowley went in the parliament and made Gary commissioner. And all the myths aside, Gary wasn't the top of that merit list. Gary was the third name Rowley had to call in the parliament, but Rowley went to make Gary commissioner of police. And Rudall and them didn't want to fight that because that would have bounced them up too. The same Rudall and them that Gary now talking to go against Rowley. You see, when you look at people who form political parties, like the NTA, the MSJ, the Patriotic Front, the Congress of the People, all of those parties are just letters. They're just names. You see, to fight an election in Trinidad, you need so much structure. It's unreal. One constituency requires about 15 people to manage it for an election campaign. And then you're going to need about 200 polling station clerks for election day per constituency, some more. And you need machinery to feed them, move them. You need machinery to handle their communications. None of those parties have any of that. Gary Griffith's NTA is a balloon, one prick and it gone. Now he may get some desperate people who looking to get their name somewhere because their career stall. But for the most part, all of the people with substance have ignored the call to join the NTA, and they know why. Now, Gary was supposed to join me in the Progressive Empowerment Party because we had structure. But Gary wanted to dance the 1% dance. And I'm not dancing that dance. I'm not saying we're going to exchange ketchup and mustard and create a different version of the same shit. My role in the politics is to end the reign of the contract mafia and tear their playhouse down. My role in the politics is to go and get our money back from those who stole our $3 trillion. And if you put me in office, I will do that. I have committed to that from day dot. No matter how many people try to bribe me, threaten me, take me to court. I am in court with so many defamation cases from so many... Stick up in there. There are people who sue me for picong. And Gary want to call me a PNM. Me, that he whole band of financiers that he used to go and eat in Trotters and Adams and All Out. He eat so much in All Out, he end up owning All Out. And don't tell me, don't come at me with your shit, brother. You do this to yourself. You take Peter George chain up. This is not the first time Peter George tried this shit. And we have the clip when you was on the video with me when you said that the name of your party was the National Transformation Movement. All you didn't even know is when all you went to the EBC to register it, all you find out that they were already was a National Transformation Movement. So you have to run quick and call it National Transformation Alliance. I know all of that. And I leave you to run your run. You telling people I talking about you every day. Partner, if I wanted to talk about you every day, I'd have pull you down from the start. I'd have mash up the bullshit of the NTA. I'd have tell them how you panic when we formed the National Transportation Association. And you call me on the phone and get on like a girl child. Because you say people will get confused between the two NTA. And we didn't know then that there was already a national transportation movement. Because we were under the impression that your party was going to be the NTM. So imagine our surprise. And I had to go back to all of the truckers and all of the taxi people and tell them, well, all you had to hear this. We had to change the name because Gary throwing a tantrum. And he wanted to tell people I was a PLM or I coming at him. But if I was coming at you, you'd feel it. You'd know. People would be talking about the bullshit of that fake party. People would be talking about how could you be a political leader of a party pushing yourself to get shortlisted on the merit list for commissioner of police. You have now corrupted the merit list. That is madness. Now the merit list, the president and the prime minister have to explain to the people of Trinidad and Tobago how a campaigning politician, active politician, is on the merit list. Put out a release to explain that too, Gary. Nobody taking your shit on anymore, you know. I know you're going on Samga and them media. I know Errol Fabian there with you to get a run in St. Joseph. So he gonna lend you guile plenty. But when you go on social media, which is the best reflector of who is taking you on, and you see 3 views and 5 views, believe that. My wall throttle and we still have 376 people. It should be 3,000. But they know what they're doing to block me and are taking all of that. But I'm telling you, don't talk shit for people to hear. Don't go home to fool your wife and your 5 friends and tell them that I coming at you and I have a tabanka for you. But if I had a tabanka for you, the NTA would have wrap up and gone already. Nobody else was joining. The party bus, it failed. I listened to your video. When you talk, I listen to every word you say to Barataria, and I hear the 20 people clapping, and I know that's why you can't show it live. I know that's why you can't have an open mic like me. You can't have an open mic like me at my public meetings. Tomorrow I'll be in Oropouche East, and there'll be an open mic. Come and talk. Because I could answer any question. Even the attackers, even my haters, I can handle my stories. I don't bully people. I will handle my stories. That is what I am in this politics to do. I am the change from the PNM and the UNC. I watch Synergy TV talking to a candidate who's saying the #1 thing in politics that need to fix is corruption. And he didn't respond by asking about Ish and Steve and Piaco and Clico and Dupre and the £1 million and Disalcott. He didn't ask any of those questions because all of the media and all of the politics in this country is a bullshit show. Thank God for social media. And that's why I work so hard. That's why I work so hard. Because when I stood up and I told people in 2017 that every single problem in this country could fix, they sent people to tell them I'm talking shit. So when I say it was the opposition responsibility to hold the government to office, to the oath of office, the opposition say, we can't do that. We're just the opposition. So I went out and I showed them. And it created a massive campaign called Phillip Will Fix It. I didn't come up with Phillip Will Fix It, you know. People was posting that on Facebook. People was telling one another, if you have a problem, call Phillip. He will fix it. And that's where Phillip Will Fix It. A man write a song. A man write a jingle about Phillip Will Fix It. First, they love it. Satish, send me that jingle now, please, if you're there. So I could play it for them. Gary, you talk shit for me tonight and you vex me. In that release that you let Big Belly Tim Timal sign. Tim Timal is not anybody to be talking about me, to me, in front of me. Out of place, if out of place was a person. Catch your freaking self, brother. Because Gary gave all social media work when he was commissioner of police. You feel you're somebody? Catch yourself. If the NTA was my concern, you think you would have reached this far? I give you, you know what people is telling me? I have a fella named Nyron Villafana. The man just dog me. The man just, he just follow me like I was a female dog in heat. The man just dog me and tell me, look where you let Gary get away with. Look where you let Gary get away with. Just Gary fan. Just Gary boy. All that shit I just had to take to give you room to do your thing. You come to talk shit for me? To tell people I have a tabanka for you? Brother, you know what you do, you know. You know what you do. Because everything cut now. People messaging me and telling me, boy, Phillip, you and Gary were supposed to link up. So PNM and UNC. Listen, don't miss me with the bullshit. If you need superstars and superheroes, you're not paying attention. If you think that you need any names, if I have to go and find names, say, oh, look, Phillip, they copy say, Parliament to come in your constituency and do what I am doing nationally, locally, so that 41 people. When we launch our shadow MPs, they hitting the ground to fix it. So you have access. We're not in office. $100 million is what you spending on the government and the opposition. You spend PCA. So he pressured me. He come and join Citizens Union to tell me, well, no. Have access. We're not in office. 100. I ain't dancing for nobody. When I go to help and I speak and choose, people just tell me on public health under Rowley and Kamala and Manning, 200 billion if you add Panday. This country so stink. I pray they have a Satan. I hope that is where Manning and Franklin can. I hope that is where and Malcolm, what's his name, Malcolm? I hope that is where Hafiz Karamat is. Stink and dirty, nasty people. The $500 million we spend every year to desalinate water could build and install 500 retention ponds a year. $1 million for 3 stories installed underground retention ponds, complete with pump system. We could install 500 a year. Hear that, eh? Kamala gave them a signed document. Marsha Walker wanted to defend it. That could have given you 4,500 retention ponds in all of the flood zones in the country and end the flooding now. It is just about capture, hold, treat, and distribute. But in this country, everything is a papi show. And I do a video for Gary, and I say that today, Kamala talking papi show. Kamala does just sit down there and say, let me listen to hear what Phillip's saying so I can use them words, because her whole communication team is shithounds. And I have to use these words, and some people just tell me, boy, Phillip, you talk too hard. I'm not talking hard enough. I'm holding back. I waited to see. When you're drowning, when crocodile eating your children, when tongue burning down, I waited to see y'all talk like y'all in the front row of the church, and temple, and the mosque. I waited to hear y'all then. The country is going to hell. You read Martin Daly's column? Then I asked Martin Daly, I said, I don't know what keeps you going. I fed up. I used to do a live video and I tell all it don't make sense anymore. Trinidad needs to go where it's going. You just found out that a commissioner of police was approached by a prime minister with $45 million of taxpayers' dollars to misbehave in public office at the very least. Gary is telling the public that is not a crime. If that is not a crime, if it is not a crime for the prime minister to take taxpayers' money to give to the commissioner of police, to import foreign lawyers to do his bidding, to go and lock up the political opponents of the government, if that is not a crime, then our whole justice system is a waste of time. If we're locking up people for stealing speakers and smoking weed, but the prime minister could give the commissioner of police $45 million to go and prosecute his political opponents and that not be a crime, Gary, you're talking shit because you say you want some lawyer to tell you, well, I went and I found out from my lawyers. That is misbehaving in public office. And I will be writing the director of public prosecutions, which you should have when the prime minister approached you. But we live in a country where we find out that one government accused the previous attorney general of selling briefs for kickback. And the present attorney general is defending his predecessor, another attorney general, who tried to over-prosecute him, who broke the law, who broke 4 laws, but who broke the law, created an indemnity that was not his to do. And you have 2 senior counsels, Mendez and Peterson. They should be stripped of their silk. They advise the government to commit a crime. They should be disbarred. This is not a real country. If this was a real country, Faris would be in jail tonight, as would Nelson, and anybody else, including Rowley and Stuart Young, who say, this sounds like a good idea. Let me pervert the course of justice and make sure we jail them. When you dig a hole for yourself, careful you don't fall long in it yourself. When you dig a hole for others, careful you don't fall long in it yourself. But you living in that country, you living in a country where Keith Sobian as Attorney General murdered Glenn Ashby. He murdered Glenn Ashby, and Keith Scotland, big civil rights lawyer who doesn't want to play his game, he should bring up that case. Bring up that case and sentence him posthumously. Prosecute him. When Glenn Ashby was hanged, he had an appeal pending. We are either a real country observing the rule of law or we're not. And it seems that we're not. It seems that the prime minister could use law conveniently and appoint people to positions in this country for the administration of justice to suit the machinations of the government. That is frightening. And we called for a commission of inquiry into the justice system as one of the 5 things of the Andrea Barrett petition 128,500 citizens signed. And we dropped it to the parliament, and not one of those bitches have done anything about it. Not one decided to say, listen, this girl, Andrea Barrett, I met with the mother of one of the people who died in Paria, and she was in tears. She said, Mr. Alexander, if it wasn't for you, nobody would even know my son was alive or that he died, and how he died. And she, listen, you see that whole Paria case and what they're doing with it? That is manipulating the justice system. That should have never been a commission of inquiry. That was supposed to be an investigation into the crime scene. Paria was a crime scene. Osh show up 9 days late. You never brought in professional investigators. Everything that they've done with that commission of inquiry was supposed to make you forget those 4 people died in that pipe. But I told them, I said, when all them political lawyers show up to come and pull you at your children to get the case so they get a name and they can make a settlement, I said, that's where you lost. Because I was the Pied Piper that brought the country to you. And if you did not let yourself get, okay, don't talk now, don't talk to nobody, are we handling this? Handling what? Handling what? And I make sure by now them people own half a Paria. I promise you that. It's too easy for people to get caught up with Indian and African politics in this country. And that bullshit show is what has destroyed life for a lot of people. A lot of people. We have a Minister of Works and Transport who's a barrel thief, who stole my barrels from the side of the road because it embarrassed and humiliated him. It showed him that Phillip could fix it, that all the salary he was drawing, he had no clue what he was doing. And slowly but surely, he and the entire Ministry of Works and Transport had to do in Gandhi Village at that roundabout what I told him to do. So even if you steal my barrel, Rohan Sinanan, you didn't even know what a rumble strip was. You had to go and look it up. And you know what a rumble strip was? The signs in the media, and as I show the people, I say, look, shoulder signs that nobody's seeing. Look at this. Water stops. He put barrel stops with water in it. Then you're hitting it. People telling you, people think that it was, what was it? Roadrunner cartoon with Wile E. Coyote. You hit it at 100 miles per hour and you bounce off. That's what Rohan Switz and cartoon friggin' workers. That's what we have as government ministers. Simon de Nobrega running quick today because Phillip put out a single post on the pipe that ruptured by Peaks. You know why? Because the presence of Phillip Alexander. I pulled up this morning. I got out my car with my phone. Wassa engineers, Wassa workers. Hey, boss man, we have it under control. They're getting back the water now. Don't put we on blast. I said, I just come to see what's going on. That's all. Just checking. In a country where you have a 16-inch main running down the middle of a thoroughfare that will forever break. It started in 2015, it's broken 4 times, it's been the same crisis 4 times, and not one jackass in any government has thought maybe something is wrong with the placement of this pipe. And why would Diego Martin and Westmoreland have to get water from anywhere east of it when Diego Martin is the wettest region in Trinidad? Why is there not a reservoir and a treatment facility in Diego Martin? You see, the Progressive Empowerment Party's policy, capture, hold, treat, distribute, is founded on decentralizing Wassa, so that you would be able to identify the amount of catchment you require to deal with Diego Martin West, Diego Martin Central, Diego Martin Northeast, Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West, Port of Spain South. Start there, those 5 constituencies, and let that cluster be dealt with right there in that zone. We send in water from Caroni to Diego Martin in this shit show, while the water, the bounty of rain that falls on Diego Martin that could irrigate the entire Trinidad and Tobago 12 months out of the year, we throwing that in the sea. And all you're not saying nothing. All you're not standing up and letting your voices be heard, as Kurt Allen said in the song at the start of this video. Let your voices be heard. You're only coming to me in quiet. Oh God, don't put my name, don't put my number. Don't let them see. Afraid victimization. This fella Sherwin Morgan, when he come to me with the thing with the police, I tell him, all right, I will do a live video with you. I will stand with you. He messaged me back the next day. I have all the messages. He said, boss, my family too scared, but we want you to do it. I said, I cannot do it without you. This is law enforcement. I cannot represent you to law enforcement. I am not your lawyer. You need a lawyer or yourself. And fight, 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 fight. You want to fight, you want to push, you want to... But you know what it is? Plenty people scared. And because they're scared, they are going to lose anyway. Because you're afraid. Because you're not looking at your children or your wife or your husband. You're not looking at your family, your loved ones, your neighborhood, your constituency, your country. You're not looking at your community. You're not caring enough to say, you know what? I will take the same risk Phillip take. I walk from Arima to the Red House, and my doctor tell me I'm a madman. I walked on a broken foot and damaged it for life. But I promised Andrea Barrett I would walk for her. And they call a state of emergency because they know if they didn't call that state of emergency, I'd have walked with 100,000 people. But we will walk. We will walk. Look now, you think I don't know how dangerous this country is? You think I don't know how nasty these drug trafficking, money laundering bandits are? You think I don't know that the threat of me, the growing threat of me, every politician in this country knows. That is why every other day, Sabga Media bringing some other little shit snake to say, oh, they're running for election, yeah? Let me get them all blind. Run. Be a cap of Phillip. You know why? Every time Phillip Edward Alexander is on Fazir Mohammed show, and he's been on it 3 times, and those 3 shows have had the highest ratings. Go and check. Go and check. The times when I am on Synergy TV, breaks the internet for Synergy TV. Go and check. Go and check. Christopher Gill, who was holding on for Stephen Rees, brought the viewership down to 2,000 people. And them is diehards. Them just want to hear the jingle play. The media that gives Gary an open forum. Gary started this video, and I'm not buffing all there. I want all you to still treat me nice. I just tell you, come and talk about my business a little more for me now. You see, if tomorrow the price of Karaili go up, Gary will put out a release. The price of Karaili is frightening and is directly tied to what took place with the meritless. Gary will tie 2 stray dogs in St. James mating by a traffic light to the meritless if he gets you talking about the meritless. Faris went on Fazir's show and said, email gate was worse than 9/11. Fazir said, well, I'll throw you out of the studio for talking shit. Gary tell people the meritless was worse than everything that ever take place in the country. No partner. Your friend fire you. Alright. You're telling people out of 1.4 million people saying Jacobs is doing a good job. I have never said that. I have never said that. I will never say that. There's no way to analyze it. The system badly broken, but I want to tell you this though, Gary. You're not the only commissioner of police. Before they hired you, there were other people. There are plenty police officers. There are other people that we can import from overseas. Stop thinking that you are the only one shitting that particular flavor of ice cream. Jacob may not be the man, but that doesn't mean that you are. Because all of this bullshit that went on with you politically has forever damaged the office of Commissioner of Police, the Police Service Commission, the office of the President. All of it is smeared and damaged by this. You and Rowley fall out. You tell the public, Rowley love you so bad. He tell Faris change the law to keep Gary. And he was okay with that. He was okay with that. But when they went and take back their meritless and say, no, I don't want Gary again, you're throwing this big freaking tantrum. Oh shit, you're looking bad. Your friends not telling you. Your friends not telling you. Nobody taking it on anymore. That every time, the murders go reach 600, like we look at Gary again. But besides that, I mean, that is a reason to celebrate death. That's where we are as a country. The truth of the matter is, brother, when you became a politician again, you should have been barred from, and I'm telling you things that anybody should tell you. You should have waited. You should have stood there knowing that your ability would speak for itself. You didn't have to talk. We would have talked for you. I was talking for you. I was telling people Gary would do a better job than Jacob. But you talked me out of it. You talked me out of ever defending you again. Whether you get a job or not, I am the one who told Trinidad and Tobago, Rowley is appointing a man as commissioner who Rowley accused of conspiring to murder. You tell me don't study that. But when he fire your ass, you come back out and tell him, remember when he accused me? Well, you're full of shit. Integrity doesn't change because of the flavor of the day. Integrity is integrity. Have character and stand strong. Have the decency to stand. I would still work with you, brother. But you need to change that way you have. Not everybody who disagree with you is your enemy. Some people could guide you. You could use a lot of guidance. They have people who just afraid your bullying ways and they wouldn't come at you. But I'm telling you, miss me with your bullshit. I'm not interested in it. Do not put pen to paper and write shit that you can't defend. Not with me. I will go with you toe to toe. And the people who saying that you and I were supposed to be working together, let them talk to you. Because we had opened the door, but you wanted to go and form Peter George's latest version of Pact and fail again. Because Peter George will forever fail at politics. Nobody wants what he's selling. Nobody. And all them little hangers-on that congregates to him, that will be the sum total of it. And I have seen many a flash in the pan come and go since January 18, 2017 when we launched this movement. And I told you today, you're telling me I'm not fighting Rowley as hard as you. You only fighting Rowley now because Rowley fired you. I was fighting Rowley when you and Rowley was eating in trotters. So miss me with your bullshit. Do not come at me with that crap. I will call you out. If the rest of the media too compromised to do it, I will. And get your facts straight. I know PNM. When I went to sign up, Barbara Mute, beg me, oh God, Philip, come home now, man. We need you inside of here. Rowley hug me up. It make the Newsday, Guardian, Express, whole page spread. I went to just put in my papers to contest as an independent. With my handful of people, my own money. I didn't need no 1% backer. And failed. But I failed, and I knew that I would be able to say at some point in time, I have stood up for integrity. Sometimes it means standing alone, and I have no problem with that. So all of the people who want to bump their gums and talk shit, let them bump their gums and talk shit, but don't do it to my face, because I'll be able to ask you, if I am not doing it right, what are you doing for your country? What are you doing to rescue Trinidad and Tobago? What are you doing to change it? When I in the ghetto, when I going down in the shanty towns in Central and South, when I down in the river, when I in the bush, when I fighting in court for people, where you? What you doing? Sitting down talking. And it's too easy. It's too easy to make a mess in this country. I know Peter George sweat up when he see that Gary coming out. We go hire him. We go use him to front with NTM, the National Transformation Movement. Couldn't even do a little freaking research before you start? And I was that angry. Tonight, Trinidad and Tobago, we the people of this country have a responsibility to ourselves. It is us. It is us to save us. Yes, now, huh? If you're waiting for a different version of some savior to come along, you ain't going nowhere. On the 19th of November at Bamboo number 1, come out. You don't have to sing from a hymnal. You don't have to endorse me. You don't have to join. Just come out. Just come out and stand up. If you're not happy with the government's handling of the country and the failure of the opposition, and you want something new, something different, something you could support, come out. Because I've been doing this long, and I've been doing this hard. And without any government salary, I have fixed a lot of things for a lot of people. And I will fix more with office. I am a man of integrity, and I will fight for you. If I fight this hard at only loss, can you imagine how I will fight for you if I get in the ride in the air-conditioned Prado? Think about it. Trinidad and Tobago deserves better than what masquerades as government, parliament. This whole thing is a shit show. Look at the people. Look at where we are and where we're going. And ask yourself, if any of it is good enough. Before Sandra started saying we need money, we need your help. 769-4590. Sandra Masha Briggs. 769-4590 is Felicia. Hold the number. Message her now, WhatsApp her now, call her now. Say, Felicia, I want to give you $10,000 to go towards that event you're having on the 19th of November at Bamboo number 1 across from Grand Bazaar. I want to be there. I want to help. Look at 10,000. Look at 15. Look at 20,000. We need your help. We need your help. If you can help at $500, send it now. You can call Sahai De Silva at 374-8747. The number to contact my assistant, Indira, is 702-PHIL. Believe it or not, 702-PHIL. You could call 486-2888 to join the Citizens Union. That is a way to get us some assistance financially. If you want to be a member of any of our teams in any of our constituencies, call Satish Ramsaran at 796-8172. He is the party organizer. But we need your help, we need your money, we need your volunteering. Come on board. And on the 19th of November, come out in your thousands. At 5 p.m., the doors open at noon. Come out in your thousands to Bamboo number 1 opposite Grand Bazaar and listen to the future of a better country.
Everywhere is gold and sunlight, but still, most nights the cities are crowded. There is a man that are shrouded. They don't smile and they never will. my belly start to swell. Some say life is a cycle, but don't draw she no circle. Now when it all ends, I could tell. Outside the siren keep howling, inside your belly keep growling. Oh, this way very often, since you melting up off it one night, in bed you're sleeping, next night is the way that you're keeping. So you pray to win the lotto, not to hear their voice. What you doing? I hear you. It's just crying. Hey, hey, yeah. Crying. Yeah, crying. 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 Hey, yeah. With tested pride, they soldier on. Revolution, they connections upon. And often their tragic story brings a journalist glory. No wonder they really was scorn. Since the day they born, some call them rebels without a cause. These social victims of unjust laws. Yet they christen the heroes, renegade desperados, forever knocking on heaven's door. Still on music, shut us the silence. I'm on it to conquer the violence. Big men run when comes approach, fighting for scraps with the cockroach. The young thugs, they're tough protected.
Almost every young girl expected.
Go tomorrow, that is all. Let me another child, so crying. Crying, 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 yeah, crying, crying, yeah. Social amenities, God heaven knows. Opportunities, well, them always close. Can't get what once in white collar. If I can't stretch the dollar, later for me crack or smoke me pipe. Some crush on the dead from crime. Life does rape, dignity and pride. Till there's only bitterness left inside. And every day is a struggle. Arguments are settled with muscle. Till you're 6 feet deep by 3 feet wide. Watch. Children, should life keep on drifting? Something they're smoking or sniffing? Or maybe they're trying to forget this life of misery and regret. No one to come to the rescue except Capleton and Bushu. So they boom box since the level. The drummer voices.
Children who are left outside the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. You ever hear that?
One people under one flag. It's time for change, it's time we vote to PUP. Let me fix it, we go fix it. Build a better TNT. Phillip, we go fix it, we go fix it. Because we voted PEP.
Phillip will fix it.
Vote PEP.
That's the jingle I was telling you about. Satish found it for me. I want to tell you something. What's singing Sandra Santa you tonight? That is what Kurt Allen said. Kurt Allen said, check out the crime rate, the numbers inflate. That was 15 years ago, 10 years ago. This has been going on. This is growing. This is failure. The country is failing. It is not about race. It never was. The only races that losing are the races that think they're winning. When they get into office, they say, we time now. How is it ever your time? I look at your communities and I wonder if you look around and see what real communities look like. You ever wonder what they did to get their time their way? The whole country is supposed to look like Goodwood Park and Bayshore and Valsane and Gulfview. The whole country supposed to look like that. $3 trillion is what was stolen from you, from your future. It is why you're undereducated. It is why your jobs are crap. It is why you can't get money and credit to start your business. It is why you're going to die with your dreams unfulfilled, because PNM and UNC have sold you to the contract mafia so they can get into office. And they justify it. They justify it. Marsha Walker will sprinkle holy water on your head for you tonight and talk about Jesus and call on Mary and Joseph. But she will take the money launderers' money and let them pay for the UNC paying for her to get campaign in Diego Martin West and not bat an eye. I want to tell you something, Marsha. Jesus Christ hated one set of people. He supped with prostitutes and adulterers. He lined with lepers. The people he hated were hypocrites. Hypocrites. The UNC would have put their forehead on the ground to get Phillip to run in that seat for them. They beg. You should have some sense of decency for your children. That you cannot go to hell for a heavenly cause. That is a bullshit argument. We, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, have to put PNM and UNC aside. If they were ever going to fix it, it would be fixed. We wouldn't be a narco state. You have 3 commissioners of police telling you that the drugs and the guns coming through customs through the legal ports. And that's the end of the conversation. You trying to tell me that I have one jackass in any of those governments that can say, okay, so we know where it's passing. We know how to stop it. Not one. Not one commissioner that could have police customs. Not one. Not one. We put up with bullshit. The media hands us bullshit. And then the government and the media conspires to tell you that whining on somebody, girl child, Bamsi, is the sum total of your existence. So you're all doing that, and all these girls that only think that their life is to be celebrated from the waist down. Listen to me. You will grow old too. And all of that will diminish in value. What will you sell to the world then? Stop taking chain up to sell beer and rum. We, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, when we leave Trinidad and Tobago, we excel to the highest in Trinidad. It's a shit show, a latrine pit. This is a nation of political canal conks. Look at it. Pick a person in the government. Pick a person in the opposition and tell me that is a capable human. Show me one. And if you have to fight up to try to prove the point to me, you make my point already. It should be all. All should be people of impeccable character and integrity and capacity and ability. The country should be able to know. There should be a handbook of how the country is going to be fixed, and a manifesto of bullshit promises. Give me budgets, give me measurables, give me metrics, give me timelines. That's what you need. Not stunt artists and stars. Not Dwayne Bravo and Ian Allen. You want capable, functional ministers. Simon Dinobrica is 2 pieces short of being a shit snake. Rohan Sinanan is incompetent. At best, he's worse than that. Terence Deyalsingh, come on. We ended up with the worst murder rate. Murder rate. Well, we had the worst murder rate because of the Ministry of National Security, the Ministry of Social Development, the Prime Ministers that we've always had. But we ended up with the highest death rate from COVID in the whole world. This country fails at everything. We have Venezuelans dismembering people in Trinidad and Tobago, and we can't deal with that. Police stop you. Say your name. Hola. Lock him up. One time. Send him back Venezuela. Easy to do. It's easy to do. You telling me we can't fix it? Just a dot. Trying to spit in the sea. Trying to fraud. You trying to tell me we can't fix this? Or we don't want to fix it? Come on. PNM, UNC bullshit have destroyed this country. You know what I wrote? When I read Martin Daly's color. I wrote this. I wrote so much. Martin Daly is one of the last remaining bright sparks of hope in this country who amazingly still seems to give a damn despite all he has seen, some up close. What keeps him writing still after having said it over and over for decades baffles me. To make an intelligent contribution in this country requires you to hit both political sides in each contribution or risk being cast as a spokesperson for one or the other. The problem with effectively exposing the failure of both sides is that their combined supporters then ignore you and then act surprised when all that you have been warning of for decades become a reality in their lives. Trinidad did not have to be this corrupt, this murderous, this failed. We have been warned forever, but our greed, our fear, our racism allowed us to excuse the reality that any decency within us should have rejected. Make no mistake, real violence is coming. Days of curfews and army boots are coming. Anarchy is coming. The storm we have been warning of is almost upon us. The government that is powerless to stop the preview will be even more useless for the main attraction. To tell you that there is a magic switch that can halt the momentum of need and anger certain to metastasize into our future would be to lie to you. There is a point when the pilot of large vessels, seeing obstacles in their path, make no effort to try to avoid what they know is inevitable. There is something called the point of no return. We are past it. You can feel it. The joke of a parliament refereeing the noise of red and yellow bacchanal is about to learn too late its importance to society, as will the corrupted and beholding media that will sell advertising to the coverage of its own wake. All of it was wrong. All of it was failure. We watched and chuckled and picked sides and spoke of lesser evil nonsense while evil was consuming our last vestiges of a chance at being a real country. Even writing this now, I ask myself, why? Why bother? Inspired by the commitment of people like Martin Daly, perhaps. The knowledge that there are among us people who could have helped us get it right, even as we fought so hard to get it so wrong. I worry for the children soon to inherit the ashes. Days of darkness are coming. Batten down the hatches and hope for the best. We are way past the point of no return. If you think I'm joking, don't wait too long to check yourself. Don't spend too much money in carnival bullshit. Don't let them fool you and chain you up and tell you let the devil take tomorrow, because I promise you the devil come in and that bill will unsettle. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. The 600 murders we guarantee to see this year, it's not because of the failure of McDonald Jacob. It's not because criminals watching McDonald Jacob and say, you know what, I'm going to commit some murder today. It's because Trinidad is a narco state, a failed state. When your prime minister met with the national security bullshit show, I wrote this in the media. Sorry, I'm giving you plenty homework tonight. Let's all pretend that more or better policing can solve the 60 years of failed governance that created and funded the criminal gangs. 143 gangs in Trinidad. The secret society connections that trained our people into corruption and crime from the top down. The failure of the justice system, the massive drug and corruption money laundering that spawned the empires that fund the government to leave the borders open for the billions in cocaine to pass. The looting of the treasury that created a mass of desperate humans willing to do anything to survive. The corruption of a media willing to engage in lies and dictate which voices should be heard. You could mobilize the army, double the police, deputize the doublesmen and arm the homeless. Nothing will change until we the people open our eyes big and face the reality of cocaine barons owning politicians and secret societies appointing their facilitators to high public office. The consequences will bear the same fruit even if we became a police state. This country needs a government willing to fix it. Moving around the deck chairs on the Titanic won't prevent it sinking. 40,000 illegal guns and a cocaine economy bigger than the national economy is not going away because you appoint another cockroach stomper. You need a government willing to take the fight to the contract mafia, to break the hands that have been looting the treasury, that created the hunger that fuels the crime. Secret society pushing every failed political wannabe to distract you with nonsense. This is not wild crime, but the results of having government engage in high crime with a law enforcement and justice system set up deliberately impotent to touch them. Until those in the ghettos and the gated communities are governed by the same laws, save us the pious garment rending. Trinidad is a political crime scene owned and operated by white-collar criminals. We're selling papers for the complicit media houses and on social media, cursing the fruit while watering the tree. Hire someone who's willing to fix it, not the same red and yellow jokers that facilitated all of it. Ask Sabga Media and Express House why every joker with a sudden 3-letter political party getting media time, but the hardest working politician in the fastest growing party in the country is blocked from public airwaves. Crime starts in the boardroom long before it reaches the street. And if you had an ounce of decency, you'd boycott Synergy TV, Sabga News Network, and TV6. Boycott Guardian. Boycott Express. Not that it matters, because they're closing down anyway. They're dying. Without Ian Allen in the evening and Stefan Rees in the morning, Synergy TV can't pay its mortgage. Their advertising is what props it up. They are content. They are not news. People get their news on demand. Without Stefan Rees and Ian Allen, Synergy TV dead. Without Sabga group of companies, products to advertise, 90% of their advertising is left pocket to right pocket. That's why inside all of their media offices empty. They have one person manning the whole news station right now. TV6 is the next one, eating government money. We own it, so we had to fund it. All of it is broken and over. The people who used to sit down and watch news at 7 o'clock every night, they died out. Like my father and 5 other friends who lost their fathers in the same week. That generation going. The rest of us getting our news on demand when we want it. Right on time as it happened. CNC3 and TV6 have no business model that fits in there. But you should still turn your back on them. You should still boycott them and any advertisers that support them because they're doing criminal corruption of the Constitution, blocking from public airwaves that we own, people who are practicing their freedom as guaranteed by the Constitution of political assembly and free speech. Your country is in a hostage situation. The PNM and the UNC are fronts of the contract mafia. And if you think that that is not true, then look around at the whole country and tell me, $3 trillion later, if we were going to fix it, why does the country look like this? Road builders are given money to put a layer of pitch on dirt that collapses. When you look at the condition of all of the collapses that you're seeing, you're not asking, where's the road foundation? Where are the retaining walls? They are bullshitting you. They are selling you gold at silver price. They are taking this country apart and looting it. And you are the one that's suffering with a failed national infrastructure, no roads, damage in your cars, public health is shit, education is shit, social development doesn't exist. Look at this country. I had to free a woman trapped in an old age home. If I didn't do that, Synergy TV and the minister tried to pretend that what I was saying is untrue. It took me what 18 months couldn't do with lawyers and police. I got out. The reason that happens is because of you. You are the power I stand on. Why can't you see and extrapolate that nationally? Why can't you see that you are also the power that the government and the opposition stands on? Why don't you see and extrapolate it nationally? Why don't call everybody and text everybody and WhatsApp everybody and email who's still using email and tell them, on the 19th of November, we go in Bamboo #1. We're coming out in our thousands to stand up and send a message to everybody that we, the people, not happy. Until tomorrow, Stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago.